From Music City, USA, it's David Hooper and Music Business Radio.
From the TuneIn Broadcasting Studios in Nashville, Tennessee, this is Music Business Radio, your backstage pass to the music business. I'm David Hooper, your host, and I have three guests today. Chris Blair is the owner of Listening Room Cafe in Nashville, Tennessee. He's also a singer-songwriter. Chase Armstrong from Listening Room is here as well. And Jim Peterik. You know him as a member of Survivor. He's written songs for Cheap Trick, 38 Special, Sammy Hagar, Doobie Brothers, and others. Welcome, guys.
Hey,
how you doing?
How you doing?
Chris, I'm going to start with you because I really want to talk about what you're doing here with the Listening Room in Nashville, Tennessee. And you have a background as a singer-songwriter, and that's part of the reason you got involved in the club business.
I do, yeah. I started writing when I was young, like 14, and I moved to Nashville about 12 years ago as an artist. And that's really where I started to realize the concept of co-writing. Didn't really understand co-writing until I moved to town. And through that, I kind of fell in love with the whole co-writing process. Started playing around town, and, I loved it. And the thing that was missing to me, though, was just the sound quality of all the places that I played, honestly. It was just, I kept going into these places that, to me, it felt like they were built around the bar business. And it just wasn't built for the sound. So, I just decided one day, hey, this is a void and we need to fill it. And I wanted to build a place that felt like you were sitting at home in a family room and had the best sounding room in Nashville.
So you had obviously played a lot of venues, but jumping in to the venue ownership, that's a whole other game, I would imagine. What have you learned since opening up Listening Room?
You have to work a lot. Yeah. The whole idea, actually, I was like, I want to build a place where everybody can all my friends can come and we can play, and I can get up and play all the time, and all this, and 8 years later, I'm still running a restaurant more than I'm doing music nowadays.
So what's harder? Is it being a musician or owning a club?
Ooh,
that's a good question.
That's a very good question. Two different worlds, man. They're both hard.
Well, and it seems to me like musicians don't understand club owners, and club owners don't understand musicians. It's like cats versus dogs. It's a
yeah, exactly.
It's a fight that's been going on since like the dawn of time.
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason that the Listening Room has the reputation that we do, though. I did come from the music side of things. I was an artist. I toured, and then the writing aspect of it, and the fact that I wanted to build the room for the sound and for the listeners as well as the artists. So, I think the colliding worlds kind of came together, and the artists that come in and play, Jim was one of them that, we came in and it was like, hey, like, this is cool. Like, this is built for us, and you get it. And, with Chase being the booking manager, like, he also has a music background, and we've built a team at the Listening Room with a lot of musicians, and, I think it helps and it works.
Jim, you've had a long, long career as both an artist and a writer as well. You've seen a lot of venues.
Right.
What is it that makes the Listening Room different? Why would an artist want to play there from an artist perspective?
Well, the current room, which is really, I think one of the greatest club rooms I've played anywhere in terms of size, acoustics, vibe. I just like everything about it. The monitors are good. Really stupid stuff that you think all clubs, well, monitors, of course you have good monitors. They don't. This place has great monitors, great front of house, a great sound man who's designated. He knows that board like the back of his hand. And I try to bring my sound man in, and Chris says, no, trust me, my God knows. And you know what? He was right. Just creature comforts, a great dressing room. It's just special. The old venue was also really great. So when Chris told me he was moving, I said, I can't wait to see this place. And if I was going to build a club, it would look like the Listening Room, and I told you that, just for the vibe.
So during the move, you had an old location, the new one, you were closed for 6 months. Is that correct?
Right.
So it's a pretty big build-out.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't expect to be closed 6 months, but,
that's how
build-outs
works.
go. Yeah, exactly. It was scary to be closed that long and then reopen and hope that we still had all of our loyal followers that would come back, and it's worked.
What have you done to attract quality writers? You've got a great system. It's a venue that's very respectful to writers. What have you guys done to make it a place that people would come to just to find out about new music?
I think, again, it goes back to the sound and the way that it was built. We reached out to a lot of really good, talented writers and artists when we first opened. That kind of grew into the point where, now, like, that's Chase's full-time job is, like, we don't really have to go look as much anymore. I don't know what the number is now, Chase, but probably 30 to 50 emails a day.
Yeah. I mean, it depends. Sometimes it's 100.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's from people who want to play.
They
there.
want to play, yeah.
Right.
So I mean, he literally sits and listens to music all day long, and we attract very good talent.
So I would love to dive deeper into that process of getting a gig. A lot of people listening to Music Business Radio, they're musicians. They want to play. A lot of them would like to come to Nashville because this show reaches everywhere, and they don't know how to get here. So let's talk about the booking process. What does it take to be booked at the Listening Room?
I think the worst thing you can do as an artist when you're trying to book a venue is give not enough information. I mean, when I get an email just saying I want to play there, I'm a country artist, let me know. I need more than that. I need as many links as you have. If you've got MP3s, that's how I do a lot of my booking now. It's just website. I mean,
all
nothing
online.
beats going and see someone live, but I've booked 12 shows a week. I can't really see that many people.
Right.
So
because you have 6 nights of shows,
6 nights
2
of
shows a
shows,
night.
2 shows a night.
Okay.
So
the big thing too.
Yeah, the more stuff you can give me that I can listen to, the better. Because then I get more of a feel of who the artist actually is.
We're also booked pretty far in advance. We stay booked out at least a month, typically 2 months in advance.
Yeah, right now we're like 2.5 months booked.
It's amazing how many people will email and say, hey, I'm from New Jersey and I'm got a gig in wherever, and I'm going to be coming through Nashville next Tuesday, so I'm willing to play your club. And it's just like...
It's great that we get that response that people really want to play there, but at the same time, it's hard to fit everyone in. I can't fit everyone in.
Do you have last minute openings though? Because people, they cancel from time to time, right?
Not as much as used to. I mean, now that we stay booked so far in advance, I mean, it's hard to cancel a show and get rebooked.
Jim, give me a road story here, because you've been in the business for a long time. Were you that organized back in the day when Survivor was starting out?
Well, no, not at all. We would just drive and show up at a venue. And,
you were that guy.
Yeah.
You started this.
Yeah, I started this, and hey, let's play. We got this band. We would play anywhere. But I go back way before Survivor with the Ides of March, and we'd literally pull up to a teen club on a Saturday night and say, "Can we play?" And we would just play. We just set up for exposure. And there weren't things like dressing rooms. We'd dress in the John with the floors all, never mind. It was just an awful scene. We didn't know what monitors were. We had no idea what monitors. We had 2 dual showman bottoms and a dual showman head, and that was our PA system. No wonder we didn't sound good. We couldn't hear each other.
The people who turn you down are probably kicking themselves now, though.
I would think so.
That's my biggest fear. That I'm going to turn someone down. They're going to be the next Jim Peterik.
Yeah.
I hope so. It was fun. We always put on a good show, no matter if it was a bad PA or whatever, or no PA. We would do anything.
Have you found, Jim, that there's just more business sense within the music business than there used to be?
I think there is. And one of the things I was going to say about your club is that there is a business sense, obviously a very strong one, but also because there's a songwriter, a musician behind it, people feel friendly towards it. They want to play there because they sense this is an artistic venture. This isn't like a bar that has music. This is a music venue that has drinks. It's a whole different spin on it, really.
Yeah, that's usually the first. I mean, I've booked several tours myself, and that's the first thing that somebody's going to ask is, what's your draw? How many drinks can you sell? How many people can you bring in?
Right.
Is that the first thing that you guys are concerned with, or are you looking more long-term?
I think both. I mean, it always helps if someone's got a big draw because it's going to be a good night business-wise. But if you don't have a big draw, that doesn't mean you're not going to play there. We like to build artists. I mean, we've had people come in that have had 30 people, and then their next show they have 50, and then their next show they have 80. So we like to see them grow as an artist as well as growing with us.
Is that because of the audience that you've cultivated? Do you find that the audience in the listening room is maybe smarter or more educated about music than the average club?
We get a lot of people that, in the music industry that come and listen to people that play at our club because of the people that we book at the club. So, yeah, in a way, we also have a good ear for the talent that comes in, and we, Chase plays a big part of this is when we hear someone that maybe just walked into town, and that's happened, where we're like, hey, this guy has no draw, but this is someone we want to get behind. I mean, we do that, and we wrap our arms around him, and we say, okay, we're going to help build you. Guthrie Brown, who you guys spin on the air here, is one of those guys that walked in, and he was playing to an empty room to Chase for happy hours when he first started.
So what was it about him that got your attention? Because obviously it wasn't the draw at that point.
No. songwriting ability, stage presence. He played in front of me and a couple other employees, and then you would have thought he was playing in front of 200 people.
So he still owned it.
Yeah. I mean, he was perfecting his craft, playing those happy hours, playing 4 to 5 people for like 3 hours, and now, he's playing bigger venues and playing the listening room, and there's 100, 200 people there.
Jim, I'm going to ask you this next question. Do you think that talent is developed over time, or when you've got that presence, like we're talking about, is that something that just is natural?
I think there's a seed of natural that has to be there. I've been a show-off since I was 2 years old.
Really?
Yeah. I think there has to be that seed of showmanship in a person. You can develop and you can do dance steps by numbers and you can wave your hands by numbers, but there's still got to be something deep inside that says, I belong on this stage. And you can develop that. I was not always as comfortable as I am now, but I always had a lot of that natural ability.
And you're still doing it. We were talking before the show that you'll go to the listening room and hang out and just hop on stage sometime.
Yeah.
That's kind of a cool experience, I would imagine, for anybody in the audience, because you never know what's going to happen.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can't announce it because my booking agent would go crazy if I, did that. But to show up and, just play for the love of playing, that's different. I showcased an artist named Hunter Cook a couple months ago that Chris was so kind to let me do, and the band that my nephew is in called Mason Rivers, and they brought down the house. But I also got up there, I rocked Rockin' Into the Night that night, and
yeah,
just
the 38 special, big hit.
Yeah, which was the first song that I wrote for them. That was actually their first hit. But it's fun just get up there spontaneously.
Yeah, it's cool. When Jim comes to town, before the showcase that we did, you texted me one night, and I was actually getting ready to leave and go home. And he texted, and he was like, "Hey, man, I just got into town. Are you at the club?" And I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "All right, I'm coming down." And I said, "Bring a guitar." We had a full house that night, and everybody went crazy. And you see everybody, like, it was in between shows, so everybody's kind of talking and like just mingling in between shows. And all of a sudden, Jim gets up there, and a lot of people didn't know who he was, and I went up on stage and introduced him. And as soon as I said who he was, it's like every person in the audience pulls out their iPhone and starts videoing. It was, it's really cool.
Up on YouTube in 10 minutes. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I thought you didn't even introduce me. I thought you said
there was some people didn't even know that you were the writer of that song. We had to tell them, this isn't just some guy covering Eye of the Tiger. He wrote this song.
Yeah.
So pay attention, record this.
Well, that's the cool thing that you see in Nashville that you're not going to see everywhere else. And Jim, speaking of getting you on stage, I know you brought a guitar like a true musician. Later on, we're going to make you play something for us.
You got it.
So when we come back, we're going to talk more about the listening room. Jim Peterik is here from Survivor. We're going to go out with a Jim Peterik pinned tune. This is Rockin' Into the Night. You know it by 38 Special. More from these guys next on Music Business Radio.
Rockin' into the night, rockin' into the night. Ooh, rockin', rockin' into the night, rockin' into the night.
Hi, this is Grace Potter with my band The Nocturnals, and you're listening to Music Business Radio.
Lightning 100 presents Citizen Cope.
When the sun gonna rise in a mile, you'll be feeling fine.
The Clarence Greenwood Recordings 10th Anniversary Tour, October 7th at Marathon Music Works.
You done it. Put yourself between a bullet and a target.
Tickets for Citizen Cope are on sale now at the venue box office, by phone at 877-4FLY-TICKS or at marathonmusicworks.com. Citizen Cope Live.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Grohl of the Foo Fighters. You're listening to Music Business Radio.
From Nashville, Tennessee, it's Music Business Radio, your backstage pass to the music business. I'm David Hooper, your host. I've got 3 guests today from the Listening Room Cafe. Owner Chris Blair is here. Chase Armstrong does booking. And Jim Peterik, you know him from Survivor, Ides of March. You've written a lot of songs, Jim.
That's all I do, David.
You got your guitar here.
Yeah.
And I want to talk to you guys about co-writing. Now, Chris, you said when you got to Nashville, co-writing was like something new for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd written several songs before I moved, but I just wrote by myself. I thought that's what you do. You have this feeling or emotion or whatever, and you start chasing melodies and a lyric, and you come up with it. And then I came to town, and everyone was talking about going into the room together and co-writing, and I didn't get it, but I love it now.
Jim, you've written a lot of hits.
Yeah, co-writing to me is one of the greatest things, really. I can